Okay, hey Chief people. I've got a thread in the forums right now, and it's Chief compatible 3D software, and I figured I would just post a little response because I'm a little rusty in Thea, a third-party rendering software, and I just got contracted to do a little job, which it's been a long while, so I need to touch up my skills. So I figured I'd make a comparison, and so here I've got a PBR kitchen. And this kitchen is out of the box for me. I've already set up these materials. This is the way those materials look. I'm going to fix one thing here that's annoying me. This is the way those materials look, and so this is as good as my PBR needs to look. I'm not going to do any additional work setting up cameras or anything. I'm using the saved as method, which means this camera was already previously saved. So we'll use this PBR as a comparison to what I'm going to do in Thea, hopefully in not any more than like maybe 10 minutes. So let me export this model, and I've got a folder called test, which is just where I put kind of junk things that I'm making videos for. And then I'm going to use Thea Studio. It's a standalone studio. And they're not developing this anymore, and I haven't installed 2.1 yet. I've used 2.1's trial, which is a plugin for Sketchup, and it's even faster than this, and this is already very fast. So here we go. We've got a test 3ds. I think this needs to be 0.4 to actually be to true scale. This will actually bring in Chief at its scale, so that if you want to bump or move things, obviously I have auto build roof. I didn't care about this building. I was just looking for the kitchen, wherever that may be. Where is the kitchen? Oh, it's right behind me. Okay, so here we go. We've navigated to pretty much a similar shot, and a couple things I'm going to establish. This isn't really a tutorial for this program, but I will be just going over a few of the things that I'm doing. So one is I'm going to set the resolution of my preview render, which I'll just make it low. It's 1024. That's just for this when I do a live render, which you'll see here in just a second. I'm going to set my my aperture, my perspective, blah blah blah. I'm going to go ahead and give this an f-stop. We'll give it a 1.4, so we've got like a depth of field thing going on here. And there's a way to set this distance to the window, but I can't remember what it is. So I'm just going to wing it, because I'm going to have to search that later. I don't remember. I'm going to turn this into an emitter. I can put an IES profile on this, which is straight from... Actually, sure. Why not? I'll put an IES. Again, it's been a really long time since I've done this, but I think we can figure it out. Well, I think I remember I used IES 5. And so now let's hit a profile. You know what? Did that work? No. IES file is what I want. That didn't seem to apply. Oh, that's because I need to reverse the geometry. So maybe I'll skip the IES for now. Instead, we'll crank this up to 1000 watts. And yeah, that should turn all the lights on. Now I'm going to mess around with some of the camera settings. I'm going to turn the ISO up to not that high. Something like 1300 for an interior scene is about right. And then the AO, ambient occlusion, is off. We're going to crank this distance way up and intensity way down, and we're going to get some of that depth back. And then the next thing I want to do is I want some environmental light. So I'm going to get my glass, I'm going to apply it to this window, and then I'm going to, let's for one get I'll start with the sun. I'm going to get the sun going on here. Actually, there we go. Sun and sky, that gives me this sun. I'm going to kind of put him, yeah, perfect. That looks perfect. And then I'm going to use image-based lighting, and I'm going to go in and put in a spherical image-based backdrop, which really can bring a scene to life. And maybe I'll use dry field, or actually park is pretty good. So you see a park just came in the background there. I'm going to rotate it around, until I see something I like back there. That looks like a street. That's kind of cool. Maybe go back to that street. I like that. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to check IBL and sun, so we get, kind of both those environments coming in. And then I get to just kind of start dragging and dropping materials into my material browser here. And so I can do appliance stainless steel. It looks like these have different material IDs. It's not applying globally like it should. So let's do a couple of these things. Bam, bam, bam. And let's get this wood floor in there. I know that needs to get changed. Flooring. And sure. Naughty oak. Ooh, what just happened? That didn't update yet. I'm recording in 4K, so this can be a little bit slow at times, probably, because I'm also using processor and graphics card to update this scene. So it's all pretty intensive. Seems to be holding up all right, though. And let's just grab, I don't know, this maybe has a little bit too much color in it. Maybe a wood elm. And that's updating nicely. Let's get a tile in here. I think there's a subway here. Or maybe I have a different subway. Let's see what that's doing. Okay, I'm going to change that base image. I have subway. That's better. Like this guy right here. And I can even change the scale of this on the fly. See how it's expanding? Kind of clever. We've got probably a dark glass here, but we'll just put a thicker glass in it for now. I've got like cool metallic stuff that I've built. That's always kind of fun. Maybe we'll make a metallic teapot. Sure, why not? And that's gonna update in a minute here. There we go. I've got, we've got chrome. Oh, that looks like it needed glass. If I was doing a good workflow, that wouldn't have been an issue. I would have done that already. Maybe a lighter glass there. That could use some reflectance. The roughness is just cranked way up. Maybe crank it down a little bit and it could just look okay on its own. I don't really even need to add anything. I can add a coating to it and it would give it maybe a little gloss coat, or let's delete the coating and even put a thin film on it, and that's going to give it a little gloss as well. And so you can see the scene's already looking, it's kind of transforming, right? That's got a little anisotropic. We can do that on this guy as well. We can even do it on here. And that's got that like striation there. Okay, and just to give you guys an example of how capable Thea is. I mean, we're barely scratching the surface on this so far. So this is a live preview. I'm going to go to Darkroom, which is, where you process, actually do your rendering. The sample limit's okay. I'm going to do extended tracing. I'm going to hit relight. I'm going to turn my sample limit down, which is going to create fireflies, but that's just to get a good preview of what we're looking at. Oh, and one more thing I'm going to do before I do all of that is I'm going to locate my can lights, which are these guys right here. And I'm going to group them. Oh, shoot, of course. And I could rename that group. Sure. And so now I'm going to hit render, and the video will probably, I'm guessing it's going to pause the graphics card because it's very graphics intensive. But if you guys can see this, it should be a bucket render. It should be spinning around in a circle and processing the scene one chunk at a time. There's two bars that two squares at a time, and that means one square is my processor, one square is my graphics card. If I had this plugged into a couple of nodes, a couple more machines or external graphics cards, the number of squares would increase by the number of units processing a node. And so this took 19 seconds. It's a preview render. You can see the fireflies. To get rid of the fireflies, I would up my sample limit. But the purpose of this was to kind of show you that you can do post-processing relighting. And so I can take my sun and I can make it pink, and I can change the intensity of it, and then just hit this refresh button, and look what happens outside. That was actually the sky. The sun was a different color. Same thing with the can lights. I could, you know, crank them way down to like 30 and hit a relight, and you're going to see the interiors drop down. And this is all happening after the render's taking place. So I can do this relighting of the scene that's really dynamic without actually having to run this through another hour-long render, or however, you know, whatever you're trying to get out of this. And this could be at a 4K resolution with a 2000 sample rate, and it will look crystal clear. In fact, at 4K, you would even see, you know, the grates inside of this toaster oven if you wanted to. And you can just see, just looking at this without me spending too much time. I don't know how long I've been recording for, but if we go back, here's Chief's PBR, which granted, I didn't spend a ton of time trying to make this look better, but I don't really think spending a ton of time would make this look all that much better, to spending maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes in Thea, and just, is the fidelity the right word? Just the quality you're getting out of, you know, the depth, the shadows, the things in the corner, you know, the focal points, focal lengths, apertures. You know, I can actually match what a photographer would get out of shooting this scene when it's done. And in fact, I've even set up, I don't have any of this saved and ready to display, but I even have set up a camera and mimicked that camera in this program, and it has been very close to the point where you could Photoshop it, manipulate it. So just a sample of what you can do in Thea in a short amount of time, a little bit of know-how, and a good material library. That is important. But it is drag and drop. There's global parameters. I can scale globally. I can shift globally. I can do instancing. I can do, oh, man, I could go on and on forever. Every tab's got a million different settings you can mess with. Displacing, clipping masks, layering, structuring, you know, bump maps with normal maps, with displacement maps. I mean, it just goes on, and you can make a scene look 100% realistic in these programs, and you can do it pretty quick. So I hope this was enticing and kind of fun to look at, and anybody that's interested, go check it out.